Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be continuing to work on this 1981 ATC-70. So today I'm going to focus on getting the motor out. Off camera I was able to get this axle out. I had a pry bar on this side and I just tapped it a little bit and it pulled the whole axle through. But I still can't get that brake drum off. So I think we'll try to heat that up and maybe we can get it off there that way. I think it's seized to the pads. There's nothing holding it on inside there. So we'll try to heat that up and get that off. I'm also a little upset. I bought an Easy Out or a Cobalt brand, you know, the Lowe's brand, and I drilled this and I went to put the Easy Out in and it just snapped in there. So I got this old school Milwaukee corded die grinder. I'm just gonna try to cut a slit in there and maybe get a big screwdriver on it, and then maybe we can get it out. So once we get this side cover off, we can pull the motor out, take it apart, and decide what we're gonna do. I'm tossing around the idea of just building this motor. You know, after the cost of putting the 140 Piranha in it, it's just, this is kind of a budget build. This isn't gonna be perfect. It's just gonna be a rider, so I'm not gonna go all out on it. And you know, an 88cc big bore kit with a cam and exhaust in the head will be plenty of power for this little thing. So all right, we'll go ahead and I think we're going to start with trying to get the side cover off, and then we'll move on to the drum. Sorry about the noise. This shop's got a tin roof, so, and it's pouring rain. Hopefully it's not too annoying. So went ahead and put safety glasses on. You don't want to do this without them. I don't even know if this thing works. It's an old Milwaukee 5192. This is old school. Should work pretty well. I'm going to try to get it out with a screwdriver now. I'm trying to save this case. There's a crack down here, so it's already broken, but I mean, I don't want to buy another one if I don't have to. Let's see. Gosh. That thing's in there tight. It must be rusted. I've already hit it with PV before this. Trying to get it loose. The whole cover's loose, but don't like using this in here with all this dry hay and grass. I don't want to catch this place on fire. All right, so I've been hammering on this head of this screw. Looks like I got it that way out. I don't want to keep grinding in here because I don't want to catch my whole barn on fire. That would have been an easier way to do this. Let's get it off now. Still must have a little more on there. I don't want to break this cover, but let me see if I can. It's close. There we go. And we can save it, which is cool, other than it being broken right there. There's that stud in there. Dang, that thing's stuck in there. Let's see if we can get it with a vice grip out of there. Yeah, that's stuck in there pretty good. And it broke off in there. So it looks like I'm gonna have to try to drill that out and retap this hole, which is fine. Not ideal. Look how long this thing's been sitting. All the cobwebs and stuff in here. That chain straight just will stand up almost on its own. I ended up cutting this chain to get it off. So cool. So we'll get that chain off and then we'll pull the motor. And then we'll work on getting this drum off. I don't know if maybe I should leave the motor in there. Try to get this drum off. Just a little more weight on the frame. I think I'm gonna try to heat this drum up. So it's the last thing I'm fighting to get this thing torn apart. I'm gonna try to heat it up till it's red hot. See if I can just pry it off. Hopefully this rain isn't too annoying to you guys. Sorry about that. There we go. Got it. That was not fun. Yeah, she's pretty hot still too. There's no pads left. Dang, those things are hot. Cool. What a pain in the butt. That was not fun. You can see the pads are completely rusted to that brake drum. All right, so we got that rear brake drum off, man. That was a job. I put a vice grip on here. I want to see if this thing will go into gear. So that looks like neutral. First, second, third. Neutral. Cool. Must be 3 down. I don't know the shift pattern on these. Cool. So obviously we're gonna have to order a whole new ignition. There's no way that any of this is still good. I mean, we could try to see if it has spark. Turns over, which is nice. Not all locked up. Throw this nasty old chain away. Look at that. This thing's got to have been sitting at least, I'd say 20 years, but I don't know for sure. Hopefully we can lube this up, save that. These tensioners are expensive. And I'm trying to do this, you know, and keep it reasonable. So yeah, that's already working loose. Cool. Trying to do this and keep it reasonable so I can let people ride it, you know. That's why I'm probably going to keep this motor, stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and pull the motor out of it, and then we'll we'll take apart the top end, disassemble it, and then probably take the front forks off. Just get those out of the way. That came back to life. Just a little bit of PB Blaster. Cool. So looking at this, I think this frame's been painted a few times. Over on this side, it's red in places, and the bolts have been all sprayed over. Somebody's obviously done it. I wouldn't call it a restoration, but somebody's tore it apart before. So let's go ahead and get this motor out of here. Now we know the transmission seems good. We'll check the crank and stuff when we pull the top end off. But I think it'd be kind of cool to leave the Honda motor in here, you know? So after you start looking at putting a Piranha motor in here, you got to get a battery because you can't kickstart these, or they sell adapters to make them pull start, but that's 250 bucks. And I'm not restoring this. I may someday. I'm just trying to make it rider quality. So we'll repaint the frame. I'll probably get new plastics. I got to get a new seat. Let me grab the tank, and actually we'll do that first because I filled that full of vinegar. It doesn't leak, which is good. It's just full of vinegar right now. I'm trying to clean that rust out. It didn't look too bad. It didn't look as bad as I thought. So we'll let this sit, and that'll be the last thing I do today is dump this out, then clean it out with baking soda and water. If you don't do that, it'll flash rust. So let's let this sit here for a while. It's not gonna hurt anything. Pull this motor out. These things aren't heavy. I'll just set this block under here to catch it. Where'd the bolt go? Or not? There. Yeah, it's only two holding this whole thing in there. I don't even know if I need the wrench. Yeah. So, that's obviously not a stock bolt. Or nut. Hopefully these don't fight me to get out of there. You should put some grease on these when you put them in there. Off this side. So I've been keeping all the hardware and stuff in this little guy. I wonder if there's a kit I can buy that's all new hardware for this, because this stuff's pretty rough. I can try to wire wheel it and clean it up, but it's missing a ton of, it's all just like hardware store stuff, so I don't know what the story is on this guy. Let's see if we can let this thing hang on that block. Get that bottom one out. There we go. Throttle cable's still hooked up. Oh, that's going to be a bear to get off. I don't want to mess up the top of this carburetor. It looks like an OEM one. Just lightly use these needle nose. I wouldn't recommend this, but we'll see if that does it. Coming out pretty rough. I think I'll just buzz this carburetor off because I don't want to mess up that top piece. Alright, so here's the motor. I'm going to set this off to the side for now, and then we'll take the front forks off, pull the frame off, and then we'll come back to this. Probably take the coil off too while we got it up here, or I'll just save that. I'm gonna pull this whole throttle cable off with this carb, since this looks like an original, yeah, key in Japan. Somebody probably would like this carb. Might list it on eBay. Definitely needs cleaned up. So, take this off. I think it's just Phillips screws. Oh man, I don't want to break or strip these. You know what? I'm gonna let those soak in some PB, and then we'll come back to that. I'll just take the handlebars off. Well, I thought this was still good, but it's broken on both sides, but might still be able to use it. See how this brake cable's routed through here. Looks like it's clipped up here. Where's that screwed in? Cool. All this is coming apart pretty easy. That's nice. This carb out of here. This coil. We'll set this off to the side. Did these come with red forks? Do you know? Comment down below. It's definitely going to need new bearings in the rear. I'll check these in the head stud. Alright, let's pick this thing up and see if it just comes right out. And all the bearings came out with it, so we'll need new bearings in the head stud. They're all falling apart. There you go, there's the frame. I'll take all the other stuff off. I'm not going to get it powder coated. I did a TRX 450 a couple years ago, and I got it powder coated, and then I was talking to some people, and they're like, you better hope you never get a chip in that powder coat, because then water and stuff can get up under there and rust the frame. So I'm just going to rattle can this one the best I can. There's the bearings from the head stud everywhere. All right, I am going to set this back on here with all the pieces so I don't lose any of it. All right, so I went ahead and got this workbench cleaned up a little bit so we can work on this a little easier. Start by taking the intake off. I'm gonna have to use a wrench. It's a 10 mil. So I'm planning on getting a new head too, unless this one's in like excellent condition, but I don't know. Probably gonna clean these cases up too. Maybe try to sandblast them, I don't know. I don't want to paint them because I think these engines, once you paint them, they just look like garbage afterwards. After, you know, a year or so of riding them, the paint just starts flaking off and stuff like that. Wonder if this engine's ever been apart, or if this is the first time. This is the plug. Torch. Never heard of that brand. Huh. Alright, so we'll take the head off first. We gotta get the timing off, or the chain off. Alright, so we got the timing cover off. We'll go ahead and loosen these two bolts, or these 3 bolts for the cam gear. Alright, so my camera died, but I got it all tore down. Here's the head. The head looks broken right here. That don't look factory to me. There's a big hole right there, but that sucks. Wasn't planning on using it anyways, so that just made the cost of rebuilding this even more. This piston's really clean. I mean, there's a little bit of carbon buildup on top, but I think this was just rebuilt, or it has really low hours. It says, maybe it's on the other side. It says Honda on the piston. Crank feels good. Cylinder, I really should have pressure washed this before I tore it apart, but cylinder is actually not too bad. You can tell water sat in there. Not going to use any of this though. I ordered a clutch puller online. You need a clutch puller that threads in there and that'll pull that off. Or not a clutch puller, a flywheel puller, excuse me. So what we'll probably do is pull that off, pull all this old electrical stuff off. I'm gonna order all new stuff. None of this looks really usable. That wire's broken. So that's the plan. Gonna order parts, clean everything up, then put it back together, paint the frame. I may try to stitch that plastic together and just use that just to get it, you know, so we can ride it. And then next year we'll tear it down and redo it. So anyways, gonna move on to this other project I picked up. There'll be a video of this coming up soon too. It might be before this video. So, and I also got this XR50 I picked up. So do a video on that too. If you guys are interested, leave me a comment below. So I filled this full of vinegar and let it sit overnight. This is the tank. Let's go ahead and drain it out and see how it looks. And then clean it out with some water and baking soda. Oh wow, it already looks pretty good in there. I don't know how well you can see in there. You probably can't. It's a small little tank. Let's go ahead and dump this in there. Oh, that stuff stinks. Smells kind of like rotten apples. These are raindrops right here. This tank's been patched before. It's a little weld right there, but there's still some rust stuck in there. But I'm gonna have to try to get that rust out, but you can see it seems like it did a decent job. Just a bunch of rusty stuff coming out of there. Well, looks like we'll be able to use this tank. So I'm gonna fill it with some water and baking soda so it doesn't flash rust, and hopefully we can use this. That's a OEM tank. Looks like it's been painted a few times. Almost looks like the original paint under there. Maybe we can get this off and use the original Honda paint. I doubt it, but yeah. So we'll go ahead and fill it up with water. I got some distilled water and see if that helps. Clean it out some more. I'll go ahead and put some baking soda in there. You won't want to miss this step because it'll flash rust. Alright, so I'm going to sprinkle some baking soda in there. I just bought the cheap Walmart brand. And I'm going to fill it with water, shake it up a little bit, dump it back out. Hopefully not make a big mess doing it. Put this old cap on there. It's pretty crusty, but should help keep that in there while I shake it up. Yeah, it doesn't leak. I'm gonna go outside so I don't spill this all over. So this is the nasty water. It's really not that bad. I'm gonna pour this back into the jug that it came with and then dispose of it. So I'm gonna save this actually. You can filter it and reuse it. So I'm just gonna save that for another tank. And I'm gonna flush this one out with water a few times and hopefully she comes out pretty clean. All right, that was a job cleaning this tank. It's still leaking some water. So I filled it with vinegar, let it sit for 24 hours, washed that out really well, put baking soda in there, filled it up a bunch, shook it, blew it out with the air compressor, all these hoses, or where the gas comes out. So now what I'm gonna do is wipe it up, and then I'm gonna take my heat gun and dry the inside of it so that gets rid of all the moisture in this tank. So I dried this out the best I could with this. So now I'm gonna run some fuel through it, try to absorb anything else. Just put these two little drains into a bottle or something. So that way we can try to get all the moisture out of here. That's still pretty crusty in there, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was, and I think it'll be just fine. So I'm gonna let that cool for a little bit, and then I'll run fuel through it, make sure it's clean, and then I'll just tape off this cap and then this, and then when we go to paint it, we'll do a video of that. So thanks for watching. That's where I'm gonna end this video. I appreciate everybody who likes and comments and subscribes. All right, catch you guys later.